Hello, good day and welcome. I'm Timotab and today I'm going to solve Transformation by Donatello 86. If you would like to try solving this puzzle for yourself, it will be the first link in the description. Let's have a look at the rules. Okay, normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means that we're going to place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3 by 3 box. Okay. Digits separated by an X sum to 10. Adjacent digits along a green line, often called German whispers lines, have a minimum difference of 5. So if this were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9 in order to be at least 5 apart. Adjacent digits along an orange line, which is often called a Dutch whisper line, have a minimum difference of 4. So that means we have, if this was a 3, this could be a 7 or an 8 or a 9. Digits along a purple line, which is often called a Renban line, are consecutive. So if we had a 1 here, for example, then those would have to be a 2 and a 3 in some order. Okay. Digits on a thermometer increase from the bulb. If this were a 3, this could be a 7, and this could be an 8. Doesn't matter the difference as long as they go up from the bulb to the tip. Okay, that's that. And lastly, clues outside the grid indicate the sum of the digits between the 1 and the 9 in their respective row or column. So an example here might be that if that were a 1 and that were a 9, this could be a 5, or this would have to be a 5. And if that were a 1 and this were a 9, that would be a 2-3 pair. That's a different way to make up 5. Okay, that's all the rules. I'm now going to restart the puzzle in order to reset the timer. And let's begin. All right, there's a lot going on in this puzzle. And trying to think on where to start. Well, let's start with talking about some things we know about German whispers lines, the green lines. First of all, you can't put a 5 on a German whispers line because if you did, then the adjacent digit would have to be either 0 or less or 10 or more, which aren't valid Sudoku digits. So we can't put a 5 on a German whispers line. The next thing we know about German whispers lines is that means that you're always alternating between high and low. So it's above 5 or below 5. Because even if we went as low as 1, in order to get 5 away, we would have to be at least 6, and so on. So that is useful to know. Something else that's interesting about 5s, of course, is they can't go on an X because I would need a 5 the other side, and that would break the rules of Sudoku. So, right, I think what I'm going to do is, first of all, colour this this German whispers line because it's the bigger one. I think I'm going to do yellow and pink. So we know that the 3 yellow digits are going to be the same polarity as it's usually called, and the pink digits are going to be the same polarity, but the other polarity. So if yellow digits are all high, then the pink digits are all low, and vice versa. Now, that has some interesting implications when we think about the 5 in this box and this box. So because I can't put a 5 on an X, and I can't put a 5 on the German Whisper, 5 is in one of those 3. And likewise, 5 is in one of those 3. Now, why is that particularly interesting? Well, we know that this is a high digit, and we want to be able to relate these German Whisper digits to this one. Now, if this is a 5, then that could still be, oh, that's, okay, that's very clever. All right, if this is a 5 and this is pink, if this is 5 and this is pink, then this has to be a 4, 5, 6, right? That would have to be 4, 5, and that would be 4 or 6. But this can't be 4 or 6. Because this, yes, if this were a 4, these would both have to be 9, and if this were a 6, these would both have to be 1. So, what that tells us is that that is yellow, which makes those two pink. So if this were a 5, then if this were a 5, then this would have to be either a 6, 7 pair, or a 3, 4 pair. Now I've just said that the 4 can't go there, or the 6, but what about a 4 or 6 here? Well, if this were a 4, then all 3 of those would have to be 1s, and I'd get a clash. And if, sorry, all 3 of those would have to be 9, and I'd get a clash. And if this were a 6, all 3 of those would have to be 1s, I'd get a clash. So I can't have a 4 here with a 3 here, and I can't have a 4 here with a 3 here. So I can't have a 4 in either of those. Therefore, that can't be a 5, and that is now yellow, which is that one there. And the exact same logic applies here. If this is the other colour, then that has to be a 4, 6 pair, but I can't put 4 or 6 in either of these squares. And if this is a 5 and it's the same colour, then I can't put the, then one of them must be a 4 or 6, but neither a 4 or 6 can go in either of those two cells. So therefore that's not a 5. If I'm not going through the 5, I must be all the same colour, so those are also yellow. That's really, really nice. And so that makes those pink. Okay, that's a really nice start. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so here we have a high digit and a low digit, either side of the X. So that means that we know that one of yellow, that either yellow is high and pink is low, or pink is high and yellow is low. But either way, one of those is a yellow digit. So this is a 5 pink pair. Okay, now let us suppose that pink is high for a moment. Okay, if this is 5 or a high digit, this must be higher than that digit. And all digits that are higher than 5 are in our high set, our 6, 7, 8, 9 set. So, regardless, if pink is high, regardless of whether this is 5 or high, those two would be high and would be pink. But I have an X here, in which I need a high digit and a low digit. And that means I have 5 high digits. Therefore, pink is not high, but pink is low. I'm going to mark that as blue as a cold color, and I'm going to mark that as orange. Okay. So again, over here, we have a high digit and a low digit. So this must be a low and a 5. Okay, now if we look at this digit here, if this were a low digit, this would have to be lower than it. But that would give us 4 lows in the column, and I can't do that. But if this were a 5, then that is not a 5, and this is a 5. But then I have 2 5s on the thermometer, and my thermometer is broken. So that is neither 5 nor low, and therefore must be high. I think the same works here. Yes, if that's a 5, then that's a 5 and it's broken. If it's low, this is also low. I have 5 lows in the column, and that's broken. So that is a high digit. Okay. That has been quite a good start, I think. Okay, are we looking at the Dutch whisper lines next? So, Dutch whisper lines behave fairly similarly to the German whisper lines, but there's one subtle difference in that 5 can go on a line, but only if it's next to a 1 or a 9. So, and then that kind of skips the polarity thing. So if that were a 1, say, and that were a 5, and that were a 9, then that would be low, that would be in the middle, and that would be high. And so I've got a high and low that are 2 digits apart. But absent of 5, it will go high, low, just like in a German whisper line. So the only way to break that high, low run is having a 159 set in the middle somewhere. Okay, is that useful? Right now, I'm not sure. Okay, so this 30 clue. There are, so a secret about Sudoku is that the sum of all the digits in every row or every column or every box is 49, because it contains the numbers 1 to 9, and the sum of the digits 1 to 9 is 45. Now, we're using the 1 and the 9 to be the outside part of our sandwich, and the digits in between those are what this total adds up to. So we take away 10, that's 1 plus 9, from 45. That leaves us 35. That's the maximum that we can have in a sandwich. So this 30 means that the digits that are outside of the 1 and the 9 must sum to 5. So, that means that we either have a 5 that is outside and then the 1 and the 9 are at the extremes, apart from where the 5 is, or, so yeah, let me explain that a bit better. We could have a 5 here, a 1 here, and a 9 here, for example, and then those would add to 30. Or we could have a 2-3 pair here, a 1 here, and a 9 here. Or we could have a 9 there, and a 1 there, and a 2-3 pair here. And then those 2 digits outside. Now, in this particular case, we can't put a crust of the sandwich, a 1 or a 9, in this cell up here, because either that would be a 5 or this would be a 2-3 pair. And our German whisper prevents both of those options. So let's go back. There we go. So this must be a 2-3 or a 5. So oh, hang on. We can't do that as our 1-9 pair with a 2-3 at the top and bottom, because this is a high digit. So that's not an option. So either that is our lone outie, or that is a 2-3 pair and that's a 1. So 1 is in one of those two, and if 1 is there, that's a 2-3 pair up here. But either way, that is a 9, and we have our first digit. Now, if 9 is on the line, we know that these must be 7 and 8. We know that this is a 5 and a low digit, so this must be a 6-4 pair. That means that these are from 1, 2, and 3, because I can't put a 4 there. Oh, and that has implications up here. If this is a 1, that's a 2-3 pair, and this has no fill. So that is not a 1, that is a 1. I now have a single digit that is outside of the sandwich, and that must be a 5. That removes the 5 from here. That's a cold digit. That is a 5. And that places a 5 there. And this is no longer a 1. Okay, this 30 clue is effectively done, because now, no matter what I fill in here, because of that 5, I will get to 30. So I am just going to mark that with a little X to remind myself that I have completed that clue. Okay, this 20 clue next. I think that's useful because I have a 1 here. Now, I cannot do 20 in 2 digits because 7 and 8 are the 2 highest digits I have available to me, which makes 15. So it has to be at least 3 digits. And but 3 digits, 3 digits, the only way to do that without a 9 would be 7, 8 and 5, which would be 20, but I have a 5 in the row, so it can't be 3 digits. So now it has to be exactly 4 digits, because although I could do 5 digits of 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, which would make 20. First of all, I have a 5 already used, and secondly, this digit here would have to be the 9. So it's exactly 4 digits. That is a 9. So those sum to 20, and then using our secret again, that's 20, that's 30, that's 5. These 2 digits sum to 10. So that is 6, 7 or 8. That is 2, 3 or 4. Okay. Let's think about these. These are from 6, 7, 8 and 9. These are from 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, well this can't be a 6, because as we said earlier, oh, and this can't be a 6. Okay. Okay, yep, that I think is interesting. All right, so if this digit were a 6, then we'd have a 6, 7, 8 triple on the Remban. That would force 9 and 1 into here. But if this is a 6, then because of that 20 clue, this needs to add up to 10, and that would be a 4. But if this is a 4, then to be at least 5 away, that would have to be a 9. And I can't have a 9 here and a 9 here. So that is not a 6. That means that the high digit that goes into this x is a 6, and it goes with a 4. And that's not a 4, and now neither of those are a 4. And one of those is a 1. That could be useful. Okay. Aha. All right. This cannot be a 9 because the only way to make the 5 clue would be for this to be a 5 and this a 1, which it can't be, or for this to be a 2, 3 pair, and that would be a 1. So that's not a 9. And because this 2, 3 doesn't have the other 2, 3 next to it in this column, we are somewhere looking for a 951 or 159 set to fill the 5 clue. Okay, but that makes this a 9. Well, this has had some really interesting deductions in it so far, and I'm really quite enjoying it. Right, these are from 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are only from 1, 2 and 3, because I can't put a 4 on there on any of those, because this can't be a 9. And now, because that, yeah, well, if that were a 6, those would have to both be 1s. That can't be a 6. So that's 7, 8 or 9. All right. Here we go. This 13 clue. this 9 means that neither of those can be a 1. In fact, this 4, 6 means that that's not a 4. And I can't place the 1 here because 3 plus 4 is only 7. And here, 2, 3, 4, 5 makes 14. So that's got to be the one there. And that removes 1 from those two. That 2, 3 pair means that, and they have to be different, that at least one of those is a 3, and 7 can't go next to that. So that's an 8, and that's a 7. Oh, that's quite fun, this. If this is a 2, 3 pair, that makes 5, and I need to add an 8 to that to make the 13. If this is 2 and 4, I need to add 7 to make 13. And if this is 3 and 4, I get 6, and so I need to add 3 and 4 is 7, and so I need to add 6. So that are the options for that digit, and that is a high digit, and let's mark this as low. Right, this has to be a genuine high digit because it can't be a 5. So that's high. It also can't be a 9, which means that can't be a 5, so that is low. There we go. And then that could be a high or a 5. Oh, but it can't be a 5 because this can't be a 1. If this were a 1, what digit would that be? That's got to be lower on the thermometer. And if this were a 1, then I'd have 2 1s in the row. So that can't be a 5 because I need, in order to fill the 5 clue, remember I need to have 1, 5, 9 in some order. So that's not 5, so that is a genuine high digit. Okay, so where can I fit in a 159? Okay. Let me have a look. Where can I put a 9? If I put a 9 there, that would be 5 and that would be 1. So that can't be a 9. If I put the 9 there, that would be 5 and that would be 1, but it's the wrong polarity. If I put a 9 there, I can't go that way. So that would be 5 and that would be 1. And that could work. 9, 5, 1. Or if that's a 9, I could do 5 and 1. Or if that's a 9, I could do 9, 5, 1. So I'm restricted, but not quite enough for me to make good pencil marks, I think. Which is a shame. Okay. What do I want to look at next? Right, I think I'm going to fill these in case there's anything that it shows me. That's from 6, 7, and 8. That's from 1, 2, 3, and not 4 because of the row. That is from 6, 7, 8, or 9, but not 8, because I've got that in the row. as they say. So the question is, can I put 5 in here? Because if I can't put 5 in here, then these must be low. Because otherwise I would have, oh, no, if I get a 5 on there, then that affects, oh, okay, let's not think about that for now then. I have a 1 here and a 1 here, so this is actually a 1-5 pair. Aha! This is, the remaining digits are 2, 3, 7 and 8. But 7 and 8 both appear here, and because I can't get a 5 on, at least on this portion of the whisper, these two are of the same polarity. So this must be a 7-8 pair, and that's a 2 or a 3. Given that this has a 7 on it, this must also be from 2 or 3. Because I can't put a 4 there because one of those is 7 and 4 is only 3 away from 7. So that gives me a 2-3 pair in the row. I'm going to colour these to make the colouring just a little bit more clear. Make the high and low a bit more clear, because I'm sure that's going to be useful. That's, okay, that can't be high or 5, so that is low. That can't be low or 5, so that must be high. So that is from 6, 7 or 8. That's from 2, 3 or 4. It can't be 4, because to have 4 I would need an 8 and a 9 either side. So that's 2 or 3. That gives me another 2-3 pair. Okay. This 2-3 pair makes this a 1. Aha! That means that that can't be a 1, so that's not a 5. So we have 9, 5, 1 or 9, 5, 1. So that's a 5 or a 9, and we have a 5 in one of those two. One of those two is a 9. Nine, 5, 1. One of these two is a 1, and that's not a 1. Okay. So if that's 5, 1, because we've used the 5, that would be high, that would be low, that would be high, and that gives now 5 highs in the row. So that is not a 5. That must be the 1. That must be the 5. And that must be the 9. That's not a 1. So this is all in the same box with a 5, so we can in fact colour those two as high digits, those two as low digits, and then this must be the remaining high digit for the box. Alright, yes, banging my stuff together. This is some pretty neat deductions here. I like it. But where to look next? I guess I could just fill these in. Alright, that's not a 9. Okay. Where should I look next? I'm sure you're all yelling at me and telling me where I should be looking next. But right now I just can't quite see it. So I know I've got a 4 and a 6 in here, because that's the only places for them in the row. And then I have a 7 or an 8. So that must be 4 or 6. And then I have 7, 8, and 4, 6 to go there. And this would be 4, 6, 2, 3. 4, 6, or 2 and 3, depending on what that is. Alright, let's have a look at this 9 clue, I think. So, obviously I can't have a single digit 9 clue. So I either have a 2-digit 9 clue or a 3-digit 9 clue. Well, with a 1 here, can't have a 2-digit that way or 2-digit that way, so I have a 3-digit 9 clue, which means that's the 9, which is high, and then this must be a 4, which is low, and that 9 clue is now done and complete. Oh, and the 5 clue is complete. I'm not marking the 13 clue complete because I need to make sure that I do add up everything correctly. Oh, adding up everything correctly. That could be useful. Alright, that is 13, plus those 2 digits is 23, plus those 2 digits is 33. So these 2 digits add up to 12. And I've just noticed that can't be a 5, so that's the only place for 5 in the column. And because they add up to 12, that must be a 7. That, I'm sure, is quite useful. Let's colour that. That removes that 7. This is now even, so these two must be odd between them. So there's definitely a 3 in here. So now that's 2, 3 with 8 here, or it's 3, 4 with 6 here. Okay, that's 7, makes that an 8, and that a 7. Aha, that takes out a 7 from there. This must be a 3, because I had to add up to 10. So now we can mark this 20 clue as done, because as long as we finish the Sudoku properly, well, yeah, that's a 2. Now we can mark it as done. Right, that's 3. So that's 2. So that's not a 2. So that is not an 8. So that's an 8. And that's high. That can't be a 3. So that's the only place for 3 in the box. There we go. And that is low. That has to be a 1. That's probably been like that for ages, hasn't it? And you've been yelling at me. Oh, okay. So now that can't be a 2. In fact, that has to be a 3. That makes that 5. That makes that 8. So this must be another 4, 6 pair on an X. Look at all those 4, 6 pairs on X's. All right. Must be nearly done. That's not a 9 because of the 9 in the row. So that is not a 7. That's not an 8. Okay. So that can't be a 4. Okay, where does the 2 go in this column? If the 2 were there, that would be a 1, but it can't be. So this must be a 2. This has to be 4, 6, or 7. Well, it's got to be 4 or 6 because there's a 7 in the row. That gives me a 4, 6 pair in the column. So that is 7. This is a Dutch whisper line, so that can be a 3 still. But that's not a 7. That gives me a 6, 8 pair. And now that is a 7, which makes that an 8. And that is 7. So that's a 6. On the Dutch whisper, that now has to be a 2. So this is a 4. And that's not a 4, and that's a 2, 3 pair. That is not an 8. Where to next? Right, on this digit here, in order to be 4 away from 9, that can be anything from 1 through 5. But it can't, well actually this is a 3, that's a 2, that's a 3, so that can't be a 1, 2 or a 3, so that's a 4 or a 5. Oh, and one of those two is a 5, so that is a 4. Let's see. Right, 3 can't be in those cells, so that's a 3. That makes this a 2-5 pair, but that can't be a 2. So that's a 2. That's a 5. That means this is a high digit. So that is from 7 or 8, and that is from 8 or 9. Because I've got a 4, 6 in the box. How are we doing on ones? Let's see. Well, that's a 1. Got a 1, 2 pair over there. Okay, how about 9s? Are we done with 9s yet? Not quite. Well, I can place a 9 here. So that's a 4 or 6. That gives me a 4, 6 pair in the column. So this is 5 and 8, and we can order those. There we go. So that is a 7 or a 9. That gives me a 7, 8, 9 triple. So that is a 5. And this must be a 6. Alright. Another one of those is an 8. Okay, that's not a 3. That gives me a 1, 2 pair in the column, so that's a 3, and that's a 2, which resolves the 1, and a 2, and a 1. And that gives me a 7, 9 pair in the row to fill out the row, which, no, not a 7, 9 pair, a 7, 4 pair. There we go, 7 and 4. And that can't be a 4, so that's a 7. Wait. No. Try again. 7 and 2. That's much better. 7 and 2. So yes, that is still a 7. And that's a 2. And that's low. That 6 makes that a 4. And that is 6. And those are high digits. That's a low digit. That 4 makes that 6, 4, and 6, and 4. What is going to resolve these? Oh, there we go. That 7 can't go next to a 3 on a German whisper line. So that's a 9. That's a 7. That's an 8. That's a 9. Okay. These are 1 and 7. these two digits are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 5, and this is a 8. 8 cannot go next to 6 on the Dutch whisper line, so that's 4. That's 6. That's 4. That is 6 and 8, and that 4 makes this a 6 and a 4. I'm just going to colour these last few digits. That's an 8. That 6 is high. That 7 is high. What am I missing? 4 is low. 9 is high. And then these two digits, that's a low digit and is a 3, and that is a high digit and a 6. Whew, that was quite a long one. There are some very nice touches in there. If you're familiar with variant Sudoku, I don't think that would be too much of a challenge. But there's a lot of different rules going on in there. But no, I really, really like that. I loved the way of being able to, first of all, determine that the Renban lines couldn't have a 5 on them. And also using these thermometers to disambiguate the high from the low. And somehow I've miscolored that, and someone will complain if I keep that. Oh, just messing with you. Yeah, so there we go. Yes, I really like the disambiguating the high and the low. And then the options for the 30 clue, and the once we'd figured out that this cell was a 2 or 3 and this wasn't, that it must be a 159 to make the 5 clue. Yeah, I really, really like that puzzle. Thank you, Donatello, for submitting it to me. If you liked this solve, please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see more. And I would love to hear your comments. And I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.